Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and this morning we're visiting with Dr. Jonathan Larson. He's with the University of Kentucky. He's the Extension Entomologist there. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, I'm excited that you're here, not because of the news you're bringing, though, but we knew it was probably going to happen. Emerald ash borer has been found in Warren County, and we had kind of expected that progression.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kentucky has had emerald ash borer since about 2009, based on our best estimates, just based on the first finding. But it has been slowly kind of matriculating through the state, and it's just now getting out to some of the more western counties. There's been 2 new finds so far this summer, and we're expecting more to happen here in the near future. But yes, Warren County was one of the new ones, unfortunately.
Now, how does that insect migrate?
It's an interesting thing. Naturally speaking, it would just sort of fly around and mate and lay eggs in trees, and that spread is quite slow. But unfortunately, we are our worst enemies in some cases with invasive species, and people will pack up firewood and other materials that this insect may have used as an oviposition site, and they take it with them to a new location, and that's how it gets released in a new area.
And so either way, it has been identified in Warren County. What does that mean for people who might have ash trees around their home?
They definitely need to go out and monitor their trees, take a close look at them, see if they notice anything weird about them. Particularly pay attention to the upper 1/3 of the tree. That's where this insect likes to start, is in that upper canopy. Those baby beetles are inside of there, kind of feeding on the newer growth up at the top. And then over the next 7 to 10 years, they would move down throughout the tree and finish it off, basically. It is a slow process, kind of a death by 1,000 cuts sort of situation. But look for that kind of dieback at the upper 1/3. Look for any weird branches popping up on the lower trunk where they're not supposed to be. And you can also monitor for woodpeckers. They want to eat the baby beetles that are inside of there. So if you see any increased woodpecker activity, it's a good indication that you may have an EAB problem.
Okay, now switching gears just a little bit. What if you have ash trees in your woodland areas?
That is different. So if you have a woodlot and you've got a lot of ash, you might want to consider developing a plan to try and harvest those as soon as possible. You don't want them to get infested. The wood is not as useful, obviously, after it's been hit by this bug. And the tree can become almost kind of dangerous once it's been killed. So I would argue that if you want to sell that wood, you should get out there and try and get it harvested within the next few years, as quick as you possibly can, and then look to replace that on your woodlot with a different species.
Okay, and so the next question I have is some people bring these into the office and we have identified many borer holes, but not
Mhm.
emerald ash borer. What's the difference?
Okay, so some of our native borers, they are what we call round-headed borers. Emerald ash borer is a flat-headed borer. The round-headed borers, they tend to attack stressed or dead trees, things that are kind of on the way out the door. We also call them firewood pests because after the wood has been harvested, you bring it in, it's sitting next to your chimney, kind of waiting to get used, and our warm homes heat the logs up enough that they can complete their development and then pop out, and you get sort of a neat surprise with your firewood. They are native, they aren't lethal to the trees, and they look quite a bit different. Their body is a different shape, and they're not something that we're concerned with in particular with ash. It's just something that's been around for a long time.
And so, is there any preventative? I know we have a lot of people in Warren County, probably in the surrounding areas as well, that have ash around their home. Even if
Mhm.
they're not noticing something now, is there something preventative they can do knowing that insect's here?
I would argue that they need to try and contact an arborist and have an arborist come and take a look at those trees. You want a certified arborist, a professional, somebody that's licensed and insured. That way they can come out and be safe and take a look at the tree and let you know if it's worth saving. There are some preventative things. You can treat some of the smaller trees on your own, things that are under 20 inches in diameter at chest height. So you have to do some math, get the cloth measuring tape out and wrap it around the tree and figure out that diameter. But after that, if it's under that size, you can treat with things like Ortho Tree Shrub or Bayer Tree Shrub. These are products that you would apply to the soil and they would be absorbed by the tree to protect it from EAB. If it's a bigger tree or an older tree, you are probably going to need to hire somebody to do an injection. And that's where we kind of force the tree to take up the product.
All right. Well, Jonathan, certainly appreciate the information. And if you have questions, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.